It's one of the most anticipated books of the year, but when you look at the contents, is the Green Lantern Corps Omnibus really worth your money? Woof woof! Hey guys, it's me Marcus, aka the Mad Dog, and we're back with another video. Now as soon as we got the announcement that there was going to be a Green Lantern Corps Omnibus, it was met with this immediate wave of hype. Then people started looking into the contents, it looked like there was a lot of double dipping, it looked like there were some missing issues, and more importantly, it says that this is creator-centric. So at first I didn't know whether to do a double dip a skip or a missing the issue, but then I realised that it's going to be a bit of both. So firstly, we're just going to look at what's included in this new omnibus. I'm going with the most recent solicit that I found, which has unfortunately come from Amazon, but what it says it includes is Green Lantern Corps Recharge issues 1 to 5, issues 1 to 38 of the 2005 Green Lantern Corps series, Blackest Night Tales of the Corps issues 1 to 3, Green Lantern issues 21 to 25, Green Lantern Sinestro Corps Special issue 1, Showcase 95 issues 7 to 8, and Untold Tales of Blackest Night issue 1. Now already that's a very whammy boy. I think this is one of the biggest omnibuses that's ever been printed. So yeah, even though there's a lot in there, we're going to talk about what's missing. That's because I've only been able to find this updated solicitation on Amazon, and if I'm honest, I don't really trust them. So one glaring omission in the original solicitation is issues 4 to 6. Now if these aren't going to be included in the final book, I think it's pretty obvious to see why. These 3 issues were written by Dave Gibbons, and there was absolutely no involvement from Tomasi or Gleason. It's about Guy Gardner going on vacation, but he has to fight this warlord Bolfunga, and the other Lanterns are settling into the role and going on missions and building relationships. Are these 3 issues essential, and you'll be completely lost if the original solicitation's correct and they're not included? I don't really think so. I know there's a completionist in all of us that wants to say that we need these issues, but in all honesty, I don't think it's going to massively hinder the flow of the story if they're not included. But especially because it's so early on in the series, it does really help towards building up these characters. However, if it does turn out to be the case that these are missing, you can still get them on DC Universe Infinite, which I did do a review of, so if you're already subscribed, it might just be worth checking them out there. But personally speaking, even though I'm saying they're not essential, I do still think it's weird that they're not going to be included. The only other obvious thing that isn't included at this point is the 12 issues of Ion. Now this is quite important to understanding his character, especially when it comes to the Sinestro Corps War, but again I'm going to assume that the reason why it isn't included is because there's no involvement from Tomasi or Gleason, but it probably could have enhanced the story a little bit and made this a bit cleaner in the mapping if they would have included it. So from what I can see, the main complaints about what's missing comes down to those 3 issues, and if that is a deal breaker for you, I'd advise to err on the side of caution and maybe just miss out on this release. But if you're mostly here for the art from Gleason or the story from Tomasi, then I don't think that you're going to be massively disadvantaged. Now, the bigger question, what is double dipped from the Green Lantern by Geoff Johns omnibuses? Because I know a lot of people have these, and with the Green Lantern Corps series spinning out of this title, it's inevitable that there's going to be a lot of crossovers. But again, I've seen people complaining about that, and it might also be a deal breaker for you. So from the solicit to the Tomasi and Gleason omnibus, it looks like there's going to be double dipping of Green Lantern Corps Recharge issues 1 to 5, Green Lantern Corps issues 14 to 18, Green Lantern issues 21 to 25, which is quite an interesting inclusion because I know it ties into the Sinestro Corps War storyline, which I did a review of last year for the season of events, but none of these issues are written or illustrated by Tomasi or Gleason. So I get it's for the storyline's sake, but if you're willing to include those issues, why wouldn't you include issues 4 to 6? It just seems like the line's a bit grey between what can be included and what can't be. But you're also going to be double dipping on the Green Lantern Sinestro Corps War Special issue 1 and Untold Tales of Blackest Night issue 1. And it's important to remember that from the solicitation that we've got, that this is just a volume 1. And the contents of this upcoming release conclude just before Blackest Night, meaning that it's quite likely that a sequel volume could also double dip with some of the later Geoff Johns stuff, and also the Blackest Night omnibus. And the only reason why I'm bringing this up is because I've looked at the run, I've looked at the work that these pair have done, and I've also looked at what's already included in some of these omnibuses, and I think it's pretty much guaranteed that there's going to be even further double dipping, because I'm pretty certain that it's going to include Green Lantern Corps issues 58 to 60, Green Lantern Emerald Warriors issues 8 to 10, and Green Lantern issues 64 to 67. I also think it's very likely that they might include Blackest Night issues 0 to 8, and if you have also got the Blackest Night omnibus, I think it's reasonable to assume that there's going to be double dipping with the Green Lantern Corps series issues 39 to 47. This is just me theorising, but I don't think in a volume 2 that they'd include the mainline Green Lantern Blackest Night issues, but I do think they would include the main event, so it makes a bit more sense, and because of the fact that this is a Green Lantern event. So already, just with the volume 1 alone, there is double dipping on 17 issues. That is over a quarter of this book, so that may make make this book a little bit less appealing to somebody that already owns the Geoff Johns Green Lantern Omnibuses. And if you're not somebody who already owns these, why not pick them up with the discount codes that we've got with the channel sponsor, Organic Price Books. They've got great packaging, fast shipping, and amazing customer services, and if you use code WOOFWOOF, you'll get $2 off your order. And if you're ordering 3 or more books and you want them to be delivered together, make sure you use code WOOFWOOF, ship it together for 5% off your entire order. Don't worry, you can just copy and paste them from the description down below, and you can use these codes as many times as you like. So before I jump into my final recommendations, I thought I'd do a section where I theorise what might be in a possible volume 2. This is just a fun little bonus section. I've got no kind of insider knowledge, I really wish I did, but I'm mapping it in a way that I think makes sense with the storylines that are being told. And I know I kind of criticised a lot of the potential double dipping that I'm also included in this list, but some of the storylines only make sense if you double dip. So first up, it's going to have to include Green Lantern Corps issues 39 to 47, and like I said, you'd need the main event of Blackest Night issues 0 to 8. Tomasi also did some work on Blackest Night Batman issues 1 to 3, so I don't know if it makes sense to include that here. It could possibly include Green Lantern Corps issues 58 to 59, and this is because Tony Bedard took over the writing duties from Tomasi at issue 48, and if they aren't going to include some of those Gibbons issues just because it hasn't got Tomasi or Gleason working on it, I'd have to think that they're also not going to include issues 48 to 57 as well. I hope that isn't the case, but still, this is just me theorising. And they would also have to include Green Lantern issues 64 to 67. If this is creator-centric as well, I think it makes sense to include the entirety of Green Lantern Emerald Warriors, and that's the reason why I'm including these stray issues of Green Lantern Corps in the main Green Lantern series. Anybody else sick of me saying the word Green Lantern yet? But there were a number of issues that crossed over with each other that made up the War of the Green Lanterns. So if we are going to include Emerald Warriors, we'd have to have these in so that it makes sense. You can't just have a stray part 2, part 5, part 8 and somehow think you're going to know what's happening. And if DC is set on being creator-centric, I'd also like to see issues 1 to 20 of the Green Lantern Corps series from the New 52. Yeah, again, I'm a little bit biased because the New 52 is my jam, but that would take you up to the last issues that Peter J. Tomasi's done on this universe. So with what I've theorised there, that would bring volume 2 to about 49 issues, which is only 5 less than what we've had solicited for volume 1, so it would be around a similar size, so it kinda makes sense. But I'd be more annoyed if they left out the Bedard issues of a volume 2 than I am about the potential missing issues from volume 1, and I feel like DC is trapped between a rock and a hard place with this release, so I think there's 3 possible options of what could happen. First up is that they do make a second creator-centric omnibus, which would be a bit weird considering that Gleason did not work on any of the New 52 stuff, but if they did go down a creator focused route, it would mean that the 2 omnibuses are a similar size. Second is that they could rebrand it to be a Green Lantern Corps volume 2 and forget the subtitle of Tomasi and Gleason. This could mean that they do include those Bedard issues, and it also opens the door for a volume 3 with the stuff that took place after Tomasi left, and also gives me hope that maybe on the slimmest of slim chances we somehow get Red Lantern in omnibus format. Like, come on, I included it in my top 20 most wanted, what more do I have to do? And the third option, which I really hope doesn't happen, but they could wait a couple years, then reprint this line with different mapping and include everything. That would really annoy me, and I'm at the point where I'd hope that DC are past all of that. Like, I had to buy the new Teen Titans line of omnibuses twice, some people had to do that with the Flash by Geoff Johns, and it'd have to mean that I'd do another double dipper skip on this series alone, if I'm still doing YouTube around that time. I drink a lot of energy drinks, I can't imagine I've got many years left. But like I said, the majority of this video is just theorising. We don't even know if they're going to try and do a volume 2, but with how big this series is, I can't help but think that DC must already have some kind of plan together. This was after DC took nearly 6 months off from soliciting any omnibuses, so I hope that they got the shit together, but we don't really know what's going to happen, and if DC doesn't cancel this upcoming omnibus, we can only really judge the book that we got in front of us. Which brings me on to the final bit of this video: is it still worth buying this new omnibus? Honestly, despite me complaining and me negativity, I do still think this is a day one buy. I have waited years for this title to be in the omnibus format, and there's no way that I'm going to pass up the chance. If they do end up reprinting it later on down the line, I'll probably end up buying it again because I love this series so much. And yeah, it is annoying that there's 17 or so issues that you're going to be double dipping on in volume 1 alone, but the issues that you aren't double dipping on, you can't find an oversized or omnibus format anywhere. So regardless, I do still think this is a great book that's worth picking up despite the potential missing issues and the double dipping. And honestly, when this book was announced, there was so much backlash that I felt like I had to do this video, because I do hope it's cleared up the confusion for some of you and does make you feel a bit more confident on whether or not you're going to buy this. But who knows, I've made videos that I've regretted in the past, so this might just end up being another one of them. But in the comment section below, let me know if you're planning on picking up this omnibus or if you think it's something that you might have to pass. But until next time, just make sure that you stay safe and stay mad, all you dogs. Woof woof. See you at the next video.